Large corporations including Hershey, Honda, and Verizon have stopped their spending. Target's said to use July pause on advertising to evaluate our plans for the remainder of the year. Whew, this is going to be a doozy. Facebook is a big part of the online marketing space. Just last year, they had over 17 billion in terms of ad revenue, which puts them at a huge contender in terms of advertising revenue overall for all online platforms. Stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to talk about how the Facebook adpocalypse is going to affect consumers and how you as an advertiser, as a local business, can take advantage of this situation. As always, thank you for supporting me in this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it and leave a comment below in terms of what you think might happen when it comes to the coming months for Facebook's advertising revenue. So to talk about Facebook, the ads, the way that they work is the goal of Facebook ads, like many of the ads online nowadays, is to appear in the right place to the right demographic and to convince them to have a call to action. Every time it's going to be for them to click away from Facebook. They need to be showing the right thing to the right person at the right time to maximize the amount of click-through rate, similar to how YouTube advertising is as well. I could probably make an entire video talking about Facebook ads because it's a billion-dollar industry like a lot of these digital marketing. But essentially the parts that make up an ad is going to be the ad creative itself. We also have the targeting, the placement, the bidding, which I can explain in detail. That one is one of the most crucial parts that might be affected. And we also have the budget and the scheduling. You make the ad, you decide what kind of demographic you want to target, male, female, age, even socioeconomic status, sometimes that happens. And then you also want to think about where the ad is going to be placed, at which place, etc. That is pretty much how a Facebook ad runs when it comes to from creating the ad to placing the ad somewhere and actually converting and having people go to the web page or the website that you want people to go to. Now the question needs to be asked, why is this Facebook boycott happening? It actually started in mid-June when there was a group of civil rights movements and protests which was involving the idea of anti-hate, involving the idea of incendiary language. And what they realized was on Facebook, there is a lot of groups out there which have the ability to really fume and really build on hate. Because of the way that Facebook is structured, Facebook often feeds the information that caters to you the most. This ends up causing a lot of people who might have extremist views, have a lot of obscure, unusual hate kind of related hobbies that they would end up having a place for them to flourish and have a place for them to build on this kind of hate and anger that's within them. Facebook as a platform is used for social media, right? It's used to connect people, it's used to kind of have people who have similar interests, but at the same time, according to these civil rights organizations, they're having this issue where because of the way that Facebook's operating system is, the way that the platform is, there's more and more people who are able to flourish and be able to share all of this hate-filled anger, all this hate speech. As a result, we're seeing a lot of popular brands out there, brands like Hershey, Honda, Verizon. We also have Coca-Cola, we have Lego, Starbucks, Unilever, Microsoft as well. So these are all big names who are taking a stand in terms of what's happening on Facebook because of the fact that they believe there is there's hate speech. What's interesting is that this is actually a similar occurrence which happened on YouTube a few years back, which was called the YouTube adpocalypse, where advertisers did not want their ads to be appearing near problematic videos, essentially. And now what we're seeing here is that advertisers don't want the same thing to happen, where it's like, for example, there's a racist extremist Facebook group that's operating on Facebook. They don't want their ads to be appearing on there, and which is why a lot of companies are withdrawing their advertising budget from Facebook. There's a lot of things that they want to change, but essentially they want a lot more policing when it comes to hate speech, when it comes to harassment, when it comes to these groups that really flourish, these kind of extremist groups. They want to have a third-party audit for a lot of hate speech and misinformation on the platform because the companies believe if they are the people who are operating the platform and Facebook are the ones who own the platform, they have the right to ensure that it is a safe environment and it doesn't have any of this hate speech and misinformation. All right, let's move on to the final point here, which is how is this boycott going to affect Facebook, going to affect the consumers, and going to affect advertisers out there. When it comes to Facebook, there are some mixed messages when it comes to how much it's going to be affected from an economic standpoint. Mark Zuckerberg actually had leaked audio which mentioned that eventually the advertisers are going to come back, which probably doesn't look good for him. In terms of revenue, the World Federation of Advertisers actually did a survey for a lot of the big brands out there, and we're looking at a 31% of all people who are advertising on Facebook to be withdrawing, and we're already seeing a lot of people that are doing that right now. When it comes to the consumers, one big effect that's going to happen is that since a lot of big companies are withdrawing in terms of putting ads on the platform, you're going to be seeing a lot less large corporation related ads like Starbucks or even Pepsi, Coca-Cola, like the big brands that we talked about, or Target as well. You're going to be seeing a lot of those large corporations, and instead what you're going to see more is actually more of the local businesses, a lot of the smaller companies, the ones who are still putting in the ad revenue. And you have to understand that this is partly a PR move for a lot of the large corporations, and some even say it might be a withdrawal or an excuse because of the current pandemic that's going on. For consumers, you're going to be seeing a lot more local businesses and a lot more of the smaller companies that you might not have heard of when it comes to having ad spots and appearing on your Facebook. The final bottom line that I want to talk about, which is most important for anybody using Facebook ads, is the change that's going to occur for advertisers and local businesses, including you if you use Facebook ads. Because of the fact that the volume of ads that are being placed has decreased and it's going to decrease continuously for the next few weeks, what we're seeing is that the bidding process is going to be affected. Now, what bidding is when it comes to Facebook ads is that when you bid, you're essentially bidding an amount that you're willing to give when it comes to placing your ad and having people click on the ad. So if you bid a higher amount, you'll be able to have your ad appear in more places, and in terms of frequency and also in terms of like the timing and the scheduling. This is why cost of acquisition is so important, because bidding essentially is the amount that you're willing to pay to have the ad appear in front of the right customers and for them to click it. At this point, you probably know where I'm going. If there's a huge amount of advertisers that are pulling out, the bidding is going to slowly decrease because of the fact that there's not as much competition. Bidding is kind of like a market system where if there's more and more desire for certain ad spots for certain demographics, that is going to increase and you're going to have to pay more to secure your position on that platform. But now what we're seeing is if there's a lot of big corporations that are pulling out, that's going to cause a lot of the bidding to decrease as well, because you don't need to pay as much and it's not as much of a competitive space. So there you have it. Now you have an understanding of why Facebook is experiencing companies boycotting their advertising, and you also see how it affects you, especially for advertisers, because this is an interesting opportunity for you to fine-tune your ads, to really have a better understanding about who your demographic is, and to take advantage of the lower bid rates due to the fact that there are a lot of big players that are pulling out for the month of July and August. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to work with me, you know what to do. Click in the link below to get started with me. And of course, thank you for watching until the end of the video. I'm always trying new things. I'm always trying different ideas. I decided to do this one because it was pretty ongoing. It's a pretty common trend that a lot of people are talking about, and I want to weigh it in terms of how that might affect people who are in the digital marketing space. That's gonna be it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.